Hello, my name is Celeste, and I'm recording this video for course D191, titled Advanced Data Management. The purpose of this class was to learn about ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading of data for business analysis, specifically for a DVD rental store. The most important part in business analysis is forming a business question that you will then use the ETL process to answer. My business question was, which customers demonstrate the highest loyalty to the DVD rental store as indicated by their frequency of visits based upon their rental history? Now my code is separated into sections that were specified in the rubric. I will be running the code in that order. So section B first, then C, then D, and then alphabetical order from there. So on the screen, the first line of code is just a simplified version of my question, and that is, who are our most frequently visited customers? Section B, the first section of our code, the goal was to perform a transformation that was identified in part A4, and the transformation that I chose to perform was combining the first name field and the last name field into a single column that will be shown within the summary table. I'm just going to lower this. Okay. So not only will I be performing my transformation, I will also be creating my function in this section so that when I create my trigger, my function will already be in the database. So I'm going to run this code, and our function was successfully created. And I just want to talk about the way the summary table will be displayed. So we're inserting into the summary table these fields: full name, email, customer count. We are going to concatenate the two fields from the detail table, that being the last name first will appear, and then the first name. This will be shown as full name. We will then count the customer ID, how many times it appears within the detail table, and we're going to display the total number as the customer count. So what that means is there will be unique records. You're not going to see duplicate records. You're going to see one name, one email, and the number of times they've appeared in our database, in the detail table specifically. We are then going to group them by customer ID, last name, first name, email. We're going to order it in descending order, starting with our most visited customer, the one with the highest number, and then descending from the highest point down to a limit of 100. So starting from, let's say, 50 and going down to the lowest number out of 100. So that is how our summary table will be displayed. Now let's create the tables. For section C, we were meant to create two tables, the first being the detail table, the second being the summary table, and I am going to create the detail table first because the summary table will be pulling from this table. So the table was successfully created. Now let's just verify that the structure is correct. So we're going to select from everything from the detail table. Notice this is an empty table. So the only thing we're trying to verify is that the columns are correct. Customer ID, first name, last name, email, rental ID, rental date, and the return date. So we can verify that the structure is correct. That is what we wanted. Now we're going to create our summary table. Successfully created. Now we're also going to verify the structure of this table, where full name 220, email 100, customer count. Okay, so we could verify that the structure for both tables were properly created, and now we are going to, for section D, we have to extract the raw data from the tables that were given from the DVD rental right here. These tables. So the tables we're going to be using to answer our business question are from the customer table and the rental table. So let's grab the data from these two tables, and we are going to use an inner join to combine both tables, customer and rental, and we're going to connect them via the customer ID. So insert 16,044 lines or records were inserted into the detail table. Now we're just going to verify by running the select statement on the detail table to verify that our table is no longer empty. It should now be populated with the information from that we specified, such as a customer ID, first name, last name, email. From the customer table, and from the rental table, we're grabbing the rental ID, rental date, return date. So, yes. So the first line we're going to see is up to 1,000, and it is out of 16,044 again. So we could verify every field is filled. And our table is not empty. So now we're going to create our trigger for section E. The trigger is useful because instead of inserting data into the detail table and then having to insert that data again into the summary table, we can create this trigger that once data is inserted into the detailed table, it will automatically refresh the summary table with that data. So we don't have to do a two-step process. It's just a one-step and run the trigger. So we are going to create our trigger. Successfully created. Now we want to verify that our trigger was successfully created and that it exists in the database. So we can now verify that our summary refresh is in the system. So now let us test this trigger by inserting data into the detail table. So let's insert this. It was successfully inserted. Now let's verify that the data was inserted into the detail table first. And because there is 16,044 rows, records of data, we aren't going to go through all that to see my insertion. What we're going to do instead is we're going to use a where clause on the customer ID equal to 2. And the reason we're selecting 2 is because that is the ID that I chose for the information I just inserted. So we're going to just head straight to customer ID 2 and see what data pops up. So let's run this. So for customer ID 2, Patricia Johnson pops up. So we have to scroll down. And her data ends at 27. And now from 28, you see my information inserted all the way down to line 77. So my information was successfully inserted into the detail table. And now we're just going to verify by selecting everything from the summary table and seeing if my information was refreshed into the summary table without me inserting directly into it. So we insert into the detail. Let's see if that is reflective in the summary table because of this trigger. So let's run it. And I am number 1. So I am the most loyal or most frequently visited customer. And so if the business wanted to implement a reward system, they could easily see, who's number 1 for this month. They could gather that by looking at number 1, or let's say they wanted to reward the top 10. You would get Kennedy Rhonda, or actually it goes last name first and then first name. So Celeste is me, and then Rhonda, they would reach out to these 10 people and shoot an email right here. So the reason we included the email is because this is easy. Instead of going back to the detail table and having to find their contact information, you have it right here, and you could shoot an email and let them know, hey, if the business wanted to, they could implement 20% off your next visit because you've been a loyal customer. So now we have this information just to verify. So number 1 being 50, it is ordered in descending order. So as we go down, the numbers, in fact, do decrease. So 100, Mary Smith is at 32. So we could verify that it is in descending order. Section F, our last section. The purpose was to create a stored procedure. The stored procedure refreshes both tables, the detail table and the summary table, and it clears out the contents from both and resets them. It then reinserts the original data from the customer rental table, and in this section, you're going to see my insertion of my information removed. That's how we're going to verify if this stored procedure worked. So let's start by creating the stored procedure. So we are going to run this. So create stored procedure was successful. Now we're going to call the refresh. So we're going to call it, and it was called. So that means that the stored procedure was created, and it was also called. It was also performed. So now we're going to verify that both tables were refreshed by first running that same code before. The code from... So basically the code from here, we're going to rerun this just to verify that our insertion right here does not pop up. So let's run the code. Oh, that was okay. There we go. So, as we remember, Patricia was the customer who popped up first, Patricia Johnson, and her rows stopped at 27, and it still does. However, what you'll notice is that I cannot go any further, and so 28 to 77 no longer exists. The table was refreshed and my insertion was removed. So when we run the selection or the select command from the summary table, we should no longer see my information as number 1, but you will see someone else. So let's run it. Now Eleanor Hunt is number 1 with 46 visits, or her customer count being 46. And the bottom is now Courtney Day at 32. And so the stored procedure is useful because for our business analysis, the question we wanted to answer was who is our most frequented or most loyal customer based upon the number of times they've rented from us. And we want to narrow this down to probably a monthly basis. And so when you create a stored procedure, you could automate this process to run on a monthly basis, whether that be the 31st, the 30th, or the 31st of the end of the month, or at the beginning, the 1st of the new month at opening. Let's say your store opens at 8 a.m. and you want to run this stored procedure at 7:59, 7:58, 7:50. You could do that before the store opens, and that way the summary table is now refreshed and you'll have new information based upon that month. This could be helpful in implementing a monthly reward system, loyalty programs, and just keeping up with maybe even new customers in the system. That was my project. My question was answered, and based off the original data set, Eleanor Hunter was our most loyal customer. If we wanted to go with the top 10, these are our top 10 customers most loyal, and we could easily reach out to them by email and offer them rewards, whether that be a coupon or some type of deal we could offer them, like 20% off. And so that was my project. Thank you for watching.